As Florida watches the skies for Hurricane Irma, Texas is still cleaning up from Hurricane Harvey and dealing with one of the worst effects: fraud, scams, and ripoffs. Scott Cohn is in Houston with a look at what they're facing and what potential victims of Irma can learn.
Here on Sage Hill Drive, this is the storm after the storm.
You can see the water line on some of these areas here.
Rosie Robledo got more than 2 feet of water in her South Houston home. Since the water went down, she and her husband have been trying to save what they can.
We're staging things that can be salvaged on our, on our lawns.
With most of their worldly possessions out here, they're having to fight off scavengers who think they can help themselves.
This is hard enough for people that have been affected, and this is personal, this is emotional, it's heartbreaking, it's your life turned upside down.
Same situation at the neighbors.
I've had to run off people picking through our stuff here, pilfering through it, and that's not cool.
Then there are the contractors going door to door to make a quick buck.
They're leaving business cards. What about helping someone? Taking out a rug, moving down the street.
This is just the first wave of what these and thousands of storm victims will deal with. Federal, state, and local law enforcement is on the scene looking for fake charities, consumer frauds, including crooked contractors, and schemes to rip off government aid programs like FEMA disaster assistance.
The reality is there's a lot of money to be made by these fraudsters after a disaster.
Authorities say the scams are remarkably similar in storm after storm after storm. And the bigger the storm and the more publicity, the bigger those frauds are. After Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans in 2005, government auditors found 16% of the emergency aid paid out in the first 6 months after the storm was lost to fraud. That's $1 billion. Contractor fraud was rampant. So was insurance fraud, identity theft, public corruption. More than 1,400 people arrested across the country by a joint disaster fraud task force. A similar task force is already at work here in Texas.
Know that if you are caught, the full weight of the law, both federal and state, will be upon you.
For victims of this and future storms, authorities say ask questions, demand identification. Don't give sensitive information unless you're sure you know who's getting it. Don't make rash decisions, and above all, be on guard. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Scott Cohn in Houston.